Hey guys, so on December 7th, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate will be hitting our Switches, and I could not be more excited. I love the Super Smash Bros. Series. I love it so much so that I've been almost non-stop thinking about the game since it was shown off at E3 this year. I believe that I've been able to narrow down a list of characters that are very likely to be in the game. I don't think every single one of these characters are getting into the game unless the probably upcoming October Direct has like 6 to 7 characters. I do, however, think there's a really good chance that the characters we see in the next 2 months come from this list. Do note that this is not including Echo Fighters. I might make a video about that soon, hopefully before the next character reveal. So without further ado, here are the 8 characters I think are super likely for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I've put a lot of thought and effort into isolating 8 new characters that are super likely in my opinion. For each character, I will provide a suggested moveset that I think could be likely. Note that these movesets are my own opinions on how the characters would probably function, and this isn't a wish list. In fact, there are 2 characters on here I care nothing about. I think we should go ahead and cover them first, but do know that the characters mentioned in this video are in no specific order, be that based on likelihood or my personal wish list. To preface this character as well as the next character, I'll go ahead and admit that I really just do not care about them. I've never played the games they come from, and as such know next to nothing about them. What I do know about them? They're both really popular and highly requested fighters. The first of these 2 characters is none other than Isaac from Golden Sun. Now, if you're like me and you grew up with Super Smash Bros. Brawl, you probably know Isaac as the guy who shoots out the huge green hands. Frankly, that and the fact that he has a sword are all I really know about him. After doing some basic research, I know Golden Sun is a series originated on the Game Boy Advance and had its most recent game on the DS. I know that Isaac is the main character of all 3 games. I know the games are RPGs. I also know that Isaac was a really big name in the Smash ballot and is a high contender on public opinion polls. Golden Sun is developed by Camelot, the same company who makes a lot of the Mario sports games, including the recently released Mario Tennis Aces, and the Golden Sun series is published by Nintendo. His legitimacy as a character in Smash, at least in my eyes, comes from 2 points of origin. For starters, and do note this isn't hard evidence at all, we haven't seen his assist trophy yet. This doesn't mean very much because his assist trophy wasn't in Super Smash Bros. 3DS or Wii U either, but it is something to consider. Now, the bigger reason for him being in Smash is simply because of the high amount of fan requests. A lot of people want this character in the game, and so far, Sakurai seems to want to put in highly requested fan characters for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I don't know very much about him, but I think I can make a pretty conclusive moveset for Isaac, based on one element, his weapon. Isaac is a sword user. Don't get me wrong, I understand why the majority of Fire Emblem characters, plus characters like Cloud or Shulk, have a bunch of normal sword attacks. I don't understand why so many people call it sword attacks, but not every other character has generic punches or kicks. Anyways, it seems pretty obvious to have Isaac just use his normal blade slashes for aerials, tilts, and smash attacks. However, after doing some research, I found out that in the Golden Sun series, there's abilities known as Psynergy. They're essentially magic spells, sort of like the tomes in Fire Emblem, but minus the book. It's hard to try and be conclusive on this without actually playing the game, but as far as I can tell, Isaac uses mainly what's called Venus Psynergy, which is based mostly on Earth magic. Whether he can use other kinds or not doesn't matter, as either way, he could use the other kinds for his Smash moveset. Based on my research, I'd say to make the most sense if his down special was a Venus Psynergy move, such as Quake, Earthquake, or Quake Sphere. His up special could be similar to Robin's, as there is Wind Magic in the Jupiter section of Psynergy. I'd say it would be Slash, Wind Slash, or Sonic Slash. His side special could be Move, which is actually the same move he uses as an assist trophy in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. His neutral special could be either Mars Psynergy, which is Fire Magic, or Mercury Psynergy, which is Ice Magic. I'd say it would either be Flare, Flare Wall, or Flare Storm, or Frost, Tundra, or Glacier. His final smash would most likely be Ragnarok, this huge explosion move Isaac does. So, yeah, I don't really care about Geno. Look, hear me out, Geno fans. He was in one game on the SNES, and they made a cameo in like one other game. How am I supposed to be attached to him? I haven't played Super Mario RPG, and as such, I not only don't really care about Geno, but I also don't know anything about him. So, much like Isaac, it's back to the research board for me. But Before we get into the moveset, let's first talk about Geno being likely for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, here's the thing. For starters, Geno was actually considered for Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and Sakurai has even said that he thinks Geno belongs in Smash. Geno is also one of the most requested characters period for Smash. So far, Sakurai has been adding several highly requested characters, such as Ridley and King K. Rool. In fact, many similarities can be drawn between Geno and King K. Both characters originated on the SNES and have previously suffered from legal gray areas as far as intellectual properties are concerned. However, with Cloud in the game, we don't have to worry about Square Enix not wanting to give up their intellectual property, especially for a character from the Mario game. In summary, Geno is probably the last massive fan request we haven't seen. I honestly would bet real money that he's in. Anyways, on to the moveset. After doing some research, I found a few special moves. I think his aerials and tilts will be mostly just generic punches and kicks, as well as some slams with his rifle hand. After doing some research, I found a few special moves. I think his aerials and tilts will be mostly just generic punches and kicks, as well as some slams with his rifle hand. I think there would also be an aerial too that would feature his gun arm. I think the Geno beam would constitute several of his moves, including maybe a forward air, a neutral special, a side smash, maybe even an up smash. I think as far as his other specials are concerned, his side special could be the Geno Whirl. His up special could be an upwards propelled blast from his Geno beam. His down special could even be a one-of-a-kind move. His Geno Boost, a straight-up stat boost. Sort of like Wii Fit Trainer or Shulk, except it'd be a quick animation that ends with gaining attack and defense for a short duration, with a cooldown on it after it ends. My friend has told me that he plays like a glass cannon in the game, sacrificing health for speed and attack. That could translate into a Smash moveset, making him a lightweight with a lot of strong options. Anyways, on to characters I actually know something about. Starting with... I'm gonna go ahead and get Monster Hunter out of the way. Again, this isn't a wish list, but I will admit, Monster Hunter is my most anticipated character for this game. I really want this character. I'm frothing at the mouth just thinking about it. I love Monster Hunter, which is why I'm really confused as to what they're doing here. The reason I think Monster Hunter is a super likely character for this game is that there isn't a single instance of a third-party stage not belonging to a character. And yet, here's Ancestral Step. Why would they have this stage, which, mind you, we haven't actually seen the real version of the stage. All we've seen is this flat, arena-like version, which we've also seen with a few Dracula scenes in the same August Direct. My theory? I think that potentially in the most likely upcoming October Direct, we'll get a reveal for Monster Hunter as a third-party Capcom rep, alongside the full version of the stage. I think they'll show off that Monster Hunter, much like the Inklings, has 8 different outfits, or in this case, armor sets for his different alts. I think the base Monster Hunter will have the Rathalos set, though. Monster Hunter is a very popular series, especially in Japan, so it isn't too out of the question to see the Hunter show up in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, especially with the stage already shown, but not announced. Moving on to the moveset, I think Monster Hunter will have a moveset somewhat similar to the Inklings, where the different smash attacks represent different weapons. For example, the up smash could be the dual blades, the longsword, the lance, etc. The side smash could also be all 3 of those weapons, or a greatsword, or a hammer, or a charge axe. That's the thing about deciding a moveset for Monster Hunter. You can make a case for a lot of these weapons being a lot of different moves. Dual blades could be up smash, forward smash, dash attack, any number of aerials, etc. Hammer could be a forward smash, forward air, etc. Greatsword could be a forward smash or even a down special. I imagine that the moveset in some way would incorporate, at the very least, the dual blades, the bow, the greatsword, the longsword, the lance, and the hammer. I think as far as the up special is concerned, it could be the jump move associated with the lance, or maybe a flip associated with the insect glide, or even just a jump attack with 2 phases, like Cloud's. The bow could be a neutral special. The down special could be a shock trap or pitfall trap, or maybe even a barrel bomb. The side special could be a number of things, similar to the other attacks. The final smash would honestly most likely either be just a generic ether-like final smash, or it'd incorporate a large monster like Devil Joe or even Gore Magala / Shagaru Magala. Honestly, Monster Hunter could be one of the most versatile characters in the game if the character's added, which I sure hope it is. Alright, so Kirby hasn't gotten a new rep since Brawl. Kirby isn't the biggest series represented in Super Smash Bros., but it also isn't one of the smallest. I'd even say it's deserving of at least 4 slots, as opposed to just 3. Bandana Waddle Dee would give the Kirby series well-deserved representation, not to mention how popular Bandana Waddle Dee is. Much like several other characters on this list, he tops popularity charts, especially in Japan. Bandana Waddle Dee may just have the highest request rate on this list when taking both the West and Japan into account, aside from Geno. Bandana Waddle Dee is the 4th character in the 4-person group. He just makes so much sense. Bayoneta's moveset is literally one-for-one copied from her games. Every single move she does in Smash is something she does frame for frame in Bayonetta. I'm thinking Bandana Waddle Dee can be sort of like that, but with some moves added. As for moves that can be put in straight from the game, you can take his up, forward, and down aerials from the game. The neutral special could be the spear toss, and the charged version can send out 3 spears. The up special could definitely be this helicopter move that he does. The jab combo could be this jab combo from the game. His down tilt, similar to Kirby's, can be his slide move. While this doesn't reference Kirby's Star Allies, or fit into his Star Allies moveset, his final smash could be him summoning an army of normal Waddle Dees to beat up the fighters caught in the final smash in a little cutscene. He wouldn't be a complete recreation like Bayonetta, but he could be very similar to his Kirby Star Allies counterpart. Much like Kirby, the Zelda series hasn't gotten representation since Brawl, and if you consider that the representative we got in Brawl was Toon Link, who is just another Link, that means we haven't gotten a non-Link fighter since Melee. And if that isn't bad enough, think about it this way. Legend of Zelda is a big series, both in the games as well as the reach of the franchise. I'd say it deserves a new character or 2 each game, like other big Nintendo franchises get for Smash Bros., such as Mario, Pokemon, or Fire Emblem. Right now it has 6 characters, and out of those 6 characters, 3 of them are Link. Half of the roster for the Legend of Zelda characters is Link. We definitely need to get a new, interesting character into the mix, but which character would it be? I think that the character would be Skull Kid. For starters, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate seems to have some sort of a heroes versus villains motif going on in some instances. Now, Link and, to an extent, Zelda has Ganondorf for a direct villain, and I highly doubt they're adding Toon Ganon as a character. But Skull Kid would be the perfect direct villain for young Link, and would make an interesting character in Super Smash Bros. A few things point toward Skull Kid being in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. For one, we haven't seen Skull Kid's assist trophy yet, and there's even a new assist trophy that represents Majora's Mask, the Moon. Not to mention, and this is a point we'll really get into later with a different character, but the characters for the game were all decided in 2015. That's the reason why lots of characters that people are predicting are unlikely. But, by the way, Octolings, Rex, Incineroar, etc. are good contenders for DLC, but as for the base game, it's very unlikely. Breath of the Wild was in deep development during 2015, but it lacks a decisive character that would be good in Smash. The champions are the closest thing, but even then, which of the 4 would you add? So, what was the most recent Legend of Zelda game when the characters were decided? Majora's Mask 3D. As for his moveset, well, I think he could play somewhat like he does in Hyrule Warriors, where he uses fairies and dark magics for his attacks, as well as kicks. I think he would also use the Ocarina, maybe for his down special, which could be an attack that has high knockback and radius, with a long vulnerability period if it misses. His recovery, I'd imagine, would be a slow recovery where he levitates, where you push the stick, and he's very vulnerable to being gimped. His final smash could be him dropping the moon on the stage, or be a cutscene final smash involving the moon, although the moon is already an assist trophy. The final smash could also feature Majora's Reincarnation or Majora's Wrath in a cutscene final smash. Whatever the final smash, I think Skull Kid is really likely to be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as a Legend of Zelda representative. Now, I think that a new Pokemon is possibly one of the most obvious choices for a new fighter in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, especially considering that it's become a tradition alongside there always being at least one new Mario character and always being at least one new Fire Emblem character. However, unlike 99% of the population, I wholeheartedly believe that the new Pokemon will not be a Gen 7 Pokemon. The characters were decided in 2015 when Sun and Moon would have been in very early development. In Super Smash Bros. For 3DS and Wii U, Greninja was added because Sakurai wanted to add a Pokemon from Gen 6. Right now, we don't know how long it took to make Pokemon Sun and Moon, but we know it probably wasn't in development as long as X and Y was. Development on X and Y started sometime in 2010, while development in Super Smash Bros. For 3DS and Wii U began development in 2011. X and Y then came out in 2013. The next year, Super Smash Bros. For 3DS released on September 14th, and on the 21st of November, 2 games of note, well, technically 3, released: Smash Bros. For Wii U and Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Fast forward to 2015, where 2 things of note happened on our timeline. The characters for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate were locked in and decided, and presumably, development on Pokemon Sun and Moon started. Now, does this mean that a Gen 7 Pokemon is technically possible? Yes. However, at the times characters were decided, Sun and Moon was simply not as far into development as the Pokemon X and Y were. And Zeraora is literally impossible. Anyways, so what was the last Pokemon game before Sun and Moon? Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Now, here's the thing. In Smash, Gens 1, 2, 4, and 6 are represented, meaning Gens 3 and 5 are not. I believe a Gen 3 Pokemon is just the most likely candidate considering everything here, but let me quit skirting around it. The Pokemon I think is most likely is Sceptile. Sceptile is a Pokemon that lends itself well to a fighting game. It's anthropomorphic, has an obvious but interesting personality, being a strategic ninja-like lizard, and it's decently popular. Not to mention, we have final evolutions of Fire and Water starter Pokemon in Charizard and Greninja, but no final Grass starter Pokemon. His moveset is probably the hardest of any character on this list to predict, specifically because any number of moves could be Leaf Blade or Slam. His aerials and throws could be one of the two, his side special could be a Leaf Blade that acts like Roy or Ike's side special, his up special could be a Leaf Blade that acts like a Dolphin Slash. Even his jab combo and dash attack could be Leaf Blade. I'm sure not all of these moves will be Leaf Blade with the occasional slam, but some probably will. I would imagine his neutral special will be either a chargeable Solar Beam or a Bullet Seed, which can maybe even act like it does in Pokken, where it can cause the vine to come up and hit some opponents for a combo. His neutral special could also be Seed Bomb. Down special could be Detect or Substitute and act sorta like Greninja's. It could also be like Robin's Nosferatu, but with Giga Drain. If his side special isn't Leaf Blade, it could be Leaf Storm and act like Snivy's Leaf Storm in Pokepark 2. Of course, the final Smash will be Mega Sceptile and feature a cutscene final Smash. No matter what, I think Sceptile is the most likely Pokemon candidate, considering how unlikely a Gen 7 Pokemon is. There are several series that have a pattern of always getting at least one new character. Mario, Pokemon, Fire Emblem since Melee. There's another tradition since Melee. In Super Smash Bros. Melee, Sakurai wanted to include a representative for the NES era of games. After looking at many options, he decided on Ice Climbers. By Super Smash Bros. Brawl, he added in arguably 2 more NES representatives, Rob and Pit. And by Super Smash Bros. 4, they added Duck Hunt. Now, we're up to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I will say it's arguable that Simon Belmont is the NES representative, but I personally don't think he counts, because while Simon Belmont was made to purposely look and play like his NES version, much like Mega Man, Simon Belmont is a character that really had staying power past the NES. Now, this character has had a few games beyond NES, but nothing huge. I'm talking about Excitebike. Aside from Excitebike 64 and Excitebike World Rally, Excitebike never really got anything huge. He's still mostly an NES character, and a character Sakurai has tried to make work in the past. Now, it's not like every character now so far has followed this pattern, and we don't know if it's true or not for King K. Rool. We know for a fact he's worked on Ridley and Chrom before, and now they're in the game. I think if Sakurai can make Ridley work, making Excitebike move fluently should be possible. As for the moveset, I think his aerials would be just various flips and tricks. For example, neutral air would be a 360 front flip, similar to Villager or Kirby's neutral air. His other aerials could have him slam his bike into the enemy while doing a trick, although that isn't in the game of Origin. I think the way Sapphire would design him is to mirror real-life extreme sports, and have his aerials, smash attacks, tilts, and even throws mirror tricks that people do in real life. I think for his special, that's where it matches games. I think that either his neutral or side special would have him move forwards, acting similar to the Wario bike. I think that while he's doing this, you'll be able to move your stick forwards or backwards, just like in the game. Pushing it back would have him tilt his bike up, similar to what the Wario bike also does, while pushing it forwards would make you lean the bike forwards, which would have a spike hitbox similar to Link's down air, where it lingers for a second and would be a really good edgeguard and offstage option. If you lean too long though, you'll trip, just like in the games. His down B would spawn a speed boost under him, which would send him jetting forwards, but wouldn't work in midair since he already has his neutral/side special for that. His up special could have him spawn a ramp that would send him upwards, and if used on stage, could even be used to create extra geometry to set up wall combos for a brief moment. His final smash would most likely be similar to Captain Falcon's, except it would put fighters hit on the Excitebike arena, and have them be run over by blue and purple Excitebikes. And hey, seeing as how Kid Icarus Uprising gave that series a reboot after it was in Smash, maybe the same thing can happen for Excitebike. But seeing as how Ice Climbers and Duck Hunt still only have the one game on the NES, not likely. Now, I'll admit, this last character is probably the least likely on this whole list. During Smash 4, there were two characters that were planned for the game that weren't put in. One of them was Chrom from Fire Emblem Awakening, who was replaced by Lucina. The other were the chorus kids from Rhythm Heaven. Now, this is the ultimate Smash Bros, and Chrom was put into the game, so maybe Sakurai wants to include a lot of cut content in the game. The chorus kits weren't implemented in the game most likely due to the 3DS's inability to be able to hold that many separate characters on screen. The same reason why Ice Climbers weren't included in the game. The 3DS simply couldn't handle it, and Sakurai wanted the 3DS and Wii U versions to have the same characters. The Rhythm Heaven series is a great series, and a great representative of the DS/Wii era. A lot of the time, a good portion of characters in the Smash game, except for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate so far, are representatives of what came in between the last Smash game and this one, usually but not always on the previous generation of consoles. For example, Ultimate already has characters like Inkling, Isabelle, and Chrom, coming from the 3DS/Wii U era. Brawl had characters from the GameCube and Game Boy Advanced, like Ike, Olimar, Toon Link, Zero Suit Samus, Lucas, and Pokemon Trainer, specifically from the recent, at the time, Fire Red and Leaf Green. Smash 4 had characters from the Wii and early 3DS, including characters like Shulk, Wii Fit Trainer, Rosalina, Lucina, Robin, Dark Pit, and Greninja, who originated from that generation, and even characters like Palutena and Little Mac, who, while originating from long before the Wii to early 3DS era, were given new life as characters in that time. Rhythm Heaven as a series was essentially born in this era, as while Rhythm Tengoku came out on GBA before the release of Brawl in Japan only, Rhythm Heaven was localized in 2008 and got a new game on the Wii in 2012. Since Smash 4 has come out, Rhythm Heaven has even gotten a new game in the form of Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix in 2016. Rhythm Heaven as a series not only deserves the representation slot in Smash it was robbed of in Smash 4, but the series could definitely benefit from the characters being put in Smash. Even if at this point Sakurai doesn't want to put the chorus kids in, another Rhythm Heaven character deserves the spot just as much. Now, as for the moveset, I'm not the first to suggest this, but I think that the moveset could reflect the series as a whole, and include tons of attacks from across the games. Whether it's the chorus kids doing these moves, or them transforming to the characters who perform them, it'd be a shame if they didn't include some of these references. Their jab combo could be either Karate Joe's combo, or it could be the Go 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 from Figure Fighter. Their up air could be a tennis racket swipe from Air Rally, or an uppercut from the end of Karate Joe's combo. The forward air could be a slap, like from Pac and Pests, that spikes. The down air could be the falling animation from Seesaw, and could also spike. Their back air could be the flex from Ringside. Up smash could be Flock Step. Forward smash could be Exhibition Match. Down smash could be Hole in One. Dash attack could be Shrimp Shuffle. Their neutral special could have all three of them simultaneously scream their note. Side special could be a quick combo like Dancing Blade, and it'd be Samurai Slice. Up special could be Karate Joe's combo, or the bird from Flock Step. Chorus Kids really are a character that deserve a spot in Smash, not only because Rhythm Heaven deserves a representative, but because they were denied representation due to hardware limitations. If not Chorus Kids, I still think a Rhythm Heaven character should definitely. Hey, so I'm not scripting this part of the video, this is just something I'm getting out there. I was trying to get this video done as fast as possible without compromising quality, and then from out of nowhere, we got this gigantic leak that has some of the characters I've said on here, as well as 2 Echo Fighters that were going to be on my Echo Fighter video. So here's the thing. I'm going to go ahead and release this video and not even mention anything about the leak. But in the next video I make, I'm going to mention the leak. And in fact, the next Smash video I make is just going to be a general predictions. It's going to include Echo Fighters, stages, other general things such as that. And I will talk about the leak a little bit because I think it seems decently legit. And honestly, I think the thing I'm most mad about is that my wildest, craziest Echo Fighter character I was going to suggest is in the leak. I'll go ahead and say my Echo Fighters here real quick. The Echo Fighters I was thinking were Shadow, Dixie Kong, Medusa from Kid Icarus Uprising, either Blood Falcon or Black Shadow from F-Zero, Clefairy, who is a pretty strange thing to guess, but the one that I'm talking about that was a crazy thing that was like, oh, wouldn't it be crazy if they added this character, is Mach Rider, who is in this supposed leak. So, I just, you'll have to take my word for it that I'm not just all of a sudden looking at this and going, oh, yup, yeah, nah, expected it all along. Because really, I have been thinking about Mach Rider for a while. Anyways, more on that in the next video. As of right now, there still isn't a Smash Direct confirmed or not. I'm not sure if it's going to even be in October anymore. It might be in November, but it's still coming eventually. Anyways, I'll see you all later.